Welcome to Alpine Daily for a Friday. Today I want to begin a three-part series that we're going to continue each Friday leading up to Christmas, and it's called A Different Kind of Christmas Story. And it's taken from my favorite version of the Christmas story from the book of John, John 1, 1 through 18. Now you're probably most familiar with the Christmas story through the eyes of Luke and Matthew. They talk about angels coming to visit Joseph and Mary and Elizabeth, and Jesus being born in a manger, and the census and all that good stuff. But John is very different in his telling of the Christmas story because he doesn't begin with the birth of Jesus. He doesn't begin with the announcement of the birth of Jesus. John doesn't even really begin in creation. During the creation of the world, John takes us back to before time even began. And he says, if you really want to understand where Jesus comes from and what Jesus means for us, you need to go back before the creation of the world. So let me share with you the beginning of John's Gospel, the first 5 verses we're going to look at this week, and then we'll pick up in verse 6 next week. John says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." Okay, so when you read these opening words from the Gospel of John, the first 3 words you read are "in the beginning." And if you've read the Bible some, if you've gone to church for a while, those words "in the beginning" might sound familiar to you, and they should, because in the beginning is how God starts the Bible, Genesis 1:1, in the beginning. And what John's doing is, he's saying, let me retell you the story of the Bible through the lens of Jesus. And so he says, in the beginning was the Word. Now, who is the Word? You'll notice it's capital. That means this is a person it's referring to. And the Word is Jesus. That's what John is going to reveal to us as we read through this. Whenever you read the Word, he's talking about Jesus. And he says, in the beginning, before God created the heavens and the earth, before anything was made, there was Jesus. He was with God. And you should ask, well, how is that possible? How can anybody exist before anything was created? Because we're all created beings. And the answer is the Word was God. And I just love this paragraph because there's so much that we learn about Jesus. And I think what John's doing is he's telling us, as we think about that baby in the manger, as you think of Jesus, the baby in the manger, remember something about him or understand something about him, that he's not a normal baby, that he's not just another human person who was born, some good teacher, some prophet. He's telling us that the baby in the manger is the eternal God, that he is God himself who was there from the beginnings, from before the beginning. He has always existed with God the Father and God the Spirit. Jesus is the agent of creation. Not one thing that exists was made without Jesus. Jesus was there creating the universe, creating the stars, creating the sun, creating the planets, creating everything. That's Jesus. He's the life-giving creator. John tells us that in Jesus is life, and that life is the light of mankind, that we have life and breath because Jesus has given us his life. And then Jesus is the author of salvation. I love how verse 5 says it. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. That's language from Genesis, because you'll remember God created the universe and it was dark, and God brought light to it. We learned through Jesus. But light and dark isn't just about creation, it's about salvation. And Jesus is the one who has come into our lives in the darkness of our lives and given us the light of salvation to bring us to repentance and to bring us to faith in him. So think upon these things, pray about these things, and join us for next week as we continue this unusual Christmas story.